I want to start this off by saying that this isn't a diss on anyone who uses social media. Everyone is different, and your experience might have been different than mine, and that's okay. So, on December 31st, 2022, I decided to delete all of my social media. Literally, on the night of New Year's, I was sitting in my room and I was just watching YouTube, and I got recommended a video by a guy named Jack Denmo, and it was called Monk Mode 2023. Now, I never seen any of his videos before. I never saw any kind of videos like this. It just got recommended to me, and as I started to watch the video and some of his other videos on a similar subject, the gears started turning in my head, and I realized that I was wasting too much time on social media. He kind of convinced me that I should try the dopamine detox, and one of the first things to do was to, in his words, stop being a little cockroach and get off social media. I think part of the reason this new idea resonated with me was that I had already felt like I needed some kind of change in my life, but I wasn't really sure what it was up until that point. So literally just cold turkey, right then and there, I deleted TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter. I didn't even open the apps or anything like that, didn't check any accounts like last second. I just deleted everything right off my phone right there. And so it was, the big four platforms. I just quit them without a second thought. Now, one of the other social media I had was Snapchat, but I didn't delete that right away because I already did not use it really to begin with. It was always one that I just kind of had on my phone just to talk to, just to speak to my friends, just anyone who I didn't have their number, I would have them on Snapchat, but I was pretty much always inactive on Snapchat anyways, so I decided to just leave it alone. To be completely honest, I'm actually known by my friends to be really bad at answering messages and snaps because I just don't like the app. And I think in the last 7 months, I've probably opened Snapchat less than 6 times. Actually less than 6 times. If I were to open Snapchat right now, I probably have snaps from multiple weeks, probably 10 weeks old, So I just decided to leave Snapchat alone. As you can see, I still use YouTube, but I feel like YouTube is a little bit different from the other platforms just because of its long form content structure. And during this time, I've mainly been using it for educational content. And as time goes on, I use YouTube less and less. So now that I've explained what I used to use and what I've been doing since then, I want to kind of give a list of pros and cons to deleting social media. Starting with the cons. So the first con is that you have no idea what's going on in the outside world, especially if you're someone who gets your news from social media. But it's not even just news, it's all the trends and just the topics that everybody's talking about. I mean, it's practically every day that people around me are talking about a subject, and I have no idea what they mean, at all. I guess McDonald's has a Grimace shake, and people make skits where they drink the shake, and then Grimace comes and haunts them or something. So my friends are like, oh, we should do the Grimace trend, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Now, I could easily look these things up myself, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of deleting the social media anyways, because the main reason why I did it was that I felt like I was wasting time with things that didn't really matter to me. Con number 2, people trying to share things with you. This one was a little annoying at the start because there were some people like my friends or some people that I'm just acquainted with that would send me TikToks or Instagram videos or posts or things like that, and I didn't want to open them, or I just couldn't open them. And that was something that I kind of had to explain to them. And every single time that someone would send me something, either I would just ignore it, or I would have to say yeah, I'm not gonna, I can't really view that. I don't have that application. I can't view that anymore. And I'd have to go through the whole explanation as to what I'm doing, deleted social media, all that. So it got a little bit tiring. I kind of had to ease into this one with people who are closest to me because I had some people who were sending me 10, 15 TikToks a day with no context, and it's I don't want to go back onto it just for them, just to look at that video that has no context, that I have no idea why they're sending it to me. As time goes on, it didn't happen as often. People started to just get the memo that you didn't use social media anymore. This one also kind of goes the other way around because I used to send things to my friends too. So, and even people that were closer to me, people in my family. So that was kind of like a little bit of a form of communication, and I kind of like lost some of that too because I wasn't sending posts to my friends either. And that kind of ties into the third con, is losing friends. This one is definitely a tough one because you have to take a look at who is really your friend from social media and make a decision on if you're going to keep in contact with them. Honestly though, it wasn't too hard for me because after graduating high school, I started to get a good grasp of who was really my friend and who I really wanted in my life and who I didn't. So the people that I wanted to keep in my life, I already had their phone numbers. So that part wasn't too hard. To add to my last point, this isn't really losing friends, but it's kind of a weird dynamic at the start when you are like not seeing other people that you're used to seeing. Even if you weren't really friends with them, you had somebody on Instagram or something, and you don't see them anymore. So then everyone, if you were someone were to show you something about them or you were to see them in public, it's like, oh wow, I kind of forgot you existed. And it's not to be in like a mean way that I don't care about them at all, but it's just a little bit of a weird dynamic. And I'm sure it's kind of the same thing for them when I kind of disappeared off social media, and then when I see them, they're like, oh wow, how you doing? It's been so long. Where have you been? So it also has the adverse effect on me, but personally, I take it as a pro. Now we're gonna get into the pros. So to build on the last point I made in the cons list, the first pro is that people don't know what I'm up to, and it's kind of nice. I wasn't the type of person that would post much on social media anyways. I was more of a spectator, but when I did post, I would get a decent amount of response from people that I knew but wasn't so close with. Kind of makes me feel a little bit mysterious in a way because nobody has any idea what I'm doing. So one day if I were to get back on social media, people would see me as a whole new person. They would have no clue what happened. It's kind of weird, but it makes me a little bit excited that I can show off my progress one day. The next pro number 2, reduce stress / self-reflection. I know this is a big reason why a lot of people quit social media. So the way I kind of picture it is that most people have pretty simple brains and they don't realize that social media is a thing that's unlike anything the world has ever seen before. Even back like 50-60 years ago, there weren't people who were like world famous, or at least as many as there are today. Now we have millions of people who are internet famous. You weren't able to literally see and speak to people across every part of the world within a few seconds like we are now. Now that means that those people back then were only used to seeing people in their own town or city. They only knew about news from said city. They weren't really in other people's business all the time and were more concerned with real life things in their own lives. When you let people see hundreds of millions and even billions of other people online, they start to compare themselves a lot more with other people. Now we compare ourselves with people based on looks, status, money, and just success in general, and we start to get jealous and self-conscious. I think it can be good for our brains a little bit to see other people who are better than us in a way, because we can see that and strive to do better. But I think when there are so many other people that are doing better or worse than you that you see on a daily basis, you don't know what to think, and it's like people are like hyper analyzing every part of people's lives, and they just think that they're not worth anything. I don't think that it's good for our brains to see so many other people who we think are better than us. I think it can be a little bit because you can strive to do better, but only to a certain limit. Not having so many people in your face who are doing better or worse than you really gives you time to think about yourself for a change and do some reflection on who you are and what kind of a person you want to become without outside comparison. The next pro, being more productive. This has got to be probably the best pro to quitting social media, and it's that you're way more productive. Well, hopefully at least. Since quitting, I've learned to fill my time with more productive things like learning, reading books, spending time with family. Working out is definitely a really big one. Cooking, and probably the most important one, sleeping. Everyone around my age knows what I mean with this one. We all stayed up till 4 a.m. scrolling on Instagram or TikTok and regretted it the next day only to do the same thing again. This is one of the biggest benefits for me, and it really has helped me realize the value of getting a good night's sleep. Did you know that drowsy driving is responsible for an estimated 6,000 deaths per year, while drunk driving is responsible for 10,000 deaths per year? Think about that. That's insane. that driving while being sleepy has caused 6/10 the amount of deaths caused by drunk driving each year. Imagine what being sleepy does to your productivity. Now, that was an extreme example, but it's just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. When you don't have anything to do on your phone at night, it kind of eliminates your ability to waste time on it. There were nights where my muscle memory would like reach for my phone before going to sleep, and I'd literally have nothing to do. So I just did what I was supposed to do, was actually rest. Living in the moment. This is one that a lot of people need to hear, because I see too many people who are on their phones out in public when they're with their friends and family. Nobody cares who you're with at this moment. Nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody. There's no need to take a picture of your food at a restaurant or snap that random person back while you're at the mall with your mom. I'm just gonna scroll right past that mid-food. That person isn't gonna open your snap right away anyways. You're not that important. Since deleting social media, I've been more in the moment with every situation, and people have actually noticed it. Older people have said things to me like, do you even have a phone? Everything is better when you just reel in the things that are happening around you without taking pictures. That picture will mean nothing compared to the actual experience itself, but you miss that experience if you're too busy taking pictures or trying to keep your snap streak. And now for my final thoughts. So as of July 2023, I've been pretty happy with my decision to quit social media, and I have no regrets whatsoever. I don't think I would have started my YouTube channel and done many other things if I still had social media dragging me down. Again, this is just my personal experience with social media and not a shot at anybody who still uses it. If you made it this far, I hope that I opened your eyes to a new idea in this video, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.